title is called A Prolonged Uncomfortable Situation. I'm looking forward to hearing from this guy. Please show some good love for our speaker of the night, Kalani Thomas.
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. One of the most inspirational things I've heard since being in Toastmasters is exactly what Freddie alluded to, and he was my inspiration for my talk tonight. You just heard him say it, to get comfortable being uncomfortable. This isn't my first time on stage. I've been doing this for a long time, and all of my presentations to this point have been me reaching into the bag of things I was already saying on stage and doing it. And I was never uncomfortable in doing it because this was just what I did. So I reached out to make myself uncomfortable the other day and decided I was going to sit down and sign myself up for, to Wayne's point, several months of roles. And one of those was to sign myself up for a speech every other week and to write something new, say something new I'd never said before. I was joking to Leslie before it started, I'm actually nervous for the first time being on stage in a very long time. I'm happy about that. The reason why Freddie's theme resonates with me personally so much is because I've always maintained an uncomfortable situation. I've been in a very prolonged uncomfortable situation. My whole life has been a prolonged uncomfortable situation. See, some of you know I'm in sales and some of you don't. So for those of you that don't, I am. And I don't maintain salespeople are good because they are closers or they are openers, but there is someone who's willing to be in a prolonged uncomfortable situation for a financial reporting. And I like that. That's how I like to think about it. So in my life, I've maintained an uncomfortable nature. I've been uncomfortable. Being the middle kid of 5 makes you uncomfortable just naturally, right? So in school, I always struggled with having my own identity because the grades above me and the grades below me, I was always someone's sibling, right? I was always defined by someone else simply because I shared a last name and blood with someone. I moved out of my mom's house when I was 17, and life showed me very quickly how uncomfortable it can make you. And you gotta pay your own bills and buy your own food and then learn how to cook it and not burn down the house you're supposed to be paying rent on. It's pretty easy to be uncomfortable. My dad passed away when I was 13, and I can tell you firsthand, it's very uncomfortable learning to shave by yourself. As a salesperson, I have to pick up the phone daily, weekly, monthly, and talk to people I've never met before. You want to talk about uncomfortable, that is a very uncomfortable situation. And it gets more uncomfortable having to ask that person for money. But nothing's more uncomfortable than me having to figure out how to provide a valuable service for someone for that money they've given me, especially when I don't always know that I can. I hope I can. Freddie's theme has allowed me the opportunity to be uncomfortable with all of you. My goal in doing this is that I become better tomorrow than I was today whenever I got here. Thomas J. Watson to be specific, was the former CEO of IBM. We all know the company, right? He had a saying that in order to increase your rate of success, you have to double your rate of failure. Think about that. You have to be more of a failure to be more of a success. And that's exactly what we're supposed to be doing in this room today. I'm supposed to get up here and fumble and say my uhs and ums, and you can mark me down for both of them, in order to make sure I am better tomorrow. And I fail a little bit. I fail all the time. It's not even the end of January, and I've already failed this year. In those failures, you learn lessons. I don't know what's more uncomfortable than failure. Right? Setting a goal and then not hitting that goal is really, really uncomfortable. What you do have in comfort and being uncomfortable is lessons. And if you can find a way to make yourself uncomfortable and stretch yourself, I promise you, you'll learn a lesson about yourself. And in those lessons, there are profound and wonderful things you learn about yourself. There's new strengths you get to have. There's new moments you get to walk within in your own skin and be a better person. And it's amazing. IBM went on to be one of the greatest companies of our lifetimes, collectively, all of us. The saying in technology became, you can't get fired for hiring IBM. They got so good at failing and knowing how to fail and be better at it that when you bought from them and it broke, they could fix it faster than any of their competitors, and that's exactly how they got there. They did that by being uncomfortable with the system. So maybe I'm stealing some of Freddie's thunder. Okay, that's not my intent. My intent is just to urge you to think about those times in your life when you had to meet a goal. Or maybe you asked out a boy or a girl you liked. When maybe you had to have an awkward and uncomfortable conversation with a friend, but your relationship with that person was better because of it. All of those moments were preceded by something awful and uncomfortable and nervousness and anxiety and awkwardness. But what I promise you, all those things have in common is they are temporary. And when you come out of those temporary situations, what's on the other side is that greatness I talked about. So I've made a career out of being uncomfortable. I can pick up the phone now and I can call anyone. I don't care who answers. I don't care what we're going to talk about. I will figure it out once I'm on the phone. I've got so good at being uncomfortable that I've now gotten comfortable and I have found a home in those moments. So I urge you to get uncomfortable. So now it's not just Freddie, it's me too. Okay? Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Put yourself in that situation and I promise you, you'll get closer and closer to being able to do anything you set your mind to. And when you can do that, hopefully you find comfort in those uncomfortable moments like I have.